try to maneuver those situations, and that's exactly what we find ourselves seeing here. The way Catron has built his deck is totally around countering Gardevoir and then other decks in the meta as well. So he's got a game plan going in. Rowan has 0 games against this style of Arceus deck, I'm sure, unless these guys maybe played in Swiss at some point.
That's true.
A couple of Ralts in the prizes for Rowan. That is really tough to see. It's going to make his setup really, really difficult. Michael did prize both the Path to the Peak and Lost City, 2 key stadium cards. That Path to the Peak is actually just a one-of copy, and it is in the prizes.
Ooh. Yeah, we'll see how that plays into this match here. But yeah, we're getting prepared. We have our prize cards out. Our players are ready to go here in our Masters Top 8. So it looks like they're just getting a chat. So we have the fist bump. Let's just get this started, Chip. Masters Top 8 here at NAIC. Let's kick this off. We're starting with Rowan here and a level ball. Radiant Greninja is the lead Pokemon for Rowan Stavenow. And that is not the worst here. Actually, you won it out earlier. Maybe not in the active position, but we'll see. Ralts coming down to the bench, and a Zacian V, and that's just going to be the Roar of the Sword. Immediately
benching it, using Roar of the Sword, not having much else to go with. Kind of surprised to not see Rowan consider the Mew off of, oh, I guess didn't have an energy card, yeah, because there's no attachment, so Mew is not even a good choice. Can't attach and retreat into it to get off the Mysterious Tail. It just has to be the Ralts grab and the Zacian Roar of the Sword accelerating this extra energy. Rowan now is taking a moment to check the prize cards. Hopefully he will make note of the fact that a few Ralts are in the prizes, and that is going to be an uphill battle for him to try to climb.
Yeah, you need as many Ralts as possible, so that can get a little spicy down the line here. Michael Catron starting with a Lumineon V, also not really a starter that you want there either. Can just be a liability on your field if you're not able to pick it up somehow as well. But I guess looking through this deck, Michael Catron's deck, going against Gardevoir, what really is the strategy that you think Michael's going to hone in on for this specific matchup, Chip?
Well, I have to say I'm expecting to be surprised here. You know, Catron has a lot of different unique strategies he can go with. He does play a 2-2 Umbreon VMAX, so I imagine that is going to be his main attacker in this matchup, or his main option outside of the Arceus V and V-Star. He does also have a Metacham V in this list with the Hawlucha, so maybe he's going to try to spread some damage, move some damage around with Radiant Alakazam, and try to fit in a Yoga Loop where he can to steal some extra turns on low HP Pokemon like Ralts. Of course, we know that for Gardevoir to function, for Gardevoir to set up the way it is meant to, it's got to put damage in play. So you can manipulate that with Radiant Alakazam, and you can take advantage of that with Yoga Loop as well.
Yeah, that would be wild to see. I'm excited for this deck for sure. We do see that Radiant Alakazam come out onto the field. Before this judge, we also saw the manual attach with the Choice Bell onto the Arceus V on the bench. And now we're seeing an additional 4 cards here. You see that Flying Pikachu VMAX in the hand and an Umbreon V coming down onto the bench. Of course, we're playing with weakness here with that Umbreon in the deck. So huge component to this matchup for sure. Artisan going to come down on Rowan's end of the field into a level ball here for Rowan. So probably just searching the Artisan and level ball at the same time.
I think we're doing a little shortcutting here. Artisan down a Ralts and then level ball grabbing a Curlia. I'm a little surprised to see that Michael Catron did play the judge. I mean, Rowan did not have a very strong turn. Rowan actually is just playing the Artisan. He has not chosen to use it just yet. That's also something worth noting. Using Level Ball to grab Curlia, and he's probably going to use Refinement. He wants to find some more basic Pokemon before using the Artisan to commit to what he's going to put into play from that.
All right, we're going to see our first Refinement into 2 cards. Looks like the Rare Candy and a Psychic Energy for Rowan.
Yeah, at least this Psychic Energy can be ditched by the Radiant Greninja. He does have Iono in the hand as well.
Yeah, Gardevoir EX. We're going to see the concealed cards, though. Another 2 cards, that Shining Arcana Gardevoir, as well as a secondary Rare Candy to the hand for Rowan.
Yeah, Rowan's got a pretty solid hand, to be honest. Is actually going to choose to Iono, however. Holding on to Rare Candy Gardevoir EX could have been pretty strong. He could use Artisan to put the other Ralts into play that we know is still in the deck. put that down, and then hope that you can rare candy into it next turn. The problem with that play, I guess we should mention, is the fact that Michael Catron does play a ton of disruption. 4 Iono, 2 Judge, so you're not guaranteed to be able to keep this hand.
Yeah, maybe just 1 in that control and 6 cards off of this Iono, really for both players, but Rowan having more to work with this hand for now.
Looks like he did not find a regular Psychic Energy. Does have Fog Crystal to go get one, so that will work at least.
Yep, Fog Crystal, a basic Psychic Energy, or a basic Psychic Pokemon, but it's going to be the Psychic Energy that Rowan needed here to manually attach to that Radiant Greninja to be able to pivot out of it. And we're going to see that Cresselia on the bench as well.
Yeah, this is Rowan really valuing hanging on to the Radiant Greninja, knowing that he's prized several Ralts. That means it's going to be difficult to get to Curlia. It's going to be difficult to get through the deck with your refinements if you can't get that set up. You got to put Gardevoir in play as well at some point. So what he's doing with this play is sacrificing this Cresselia. It's not going to be super strong in this matchup, and he's trying to protect the Greninja so he can get consistent draw later on in the game.
Yeah, need to set up a fail-safe for sure for Rowan. It looks like that's how it's going to be playing out. Here we have the draw for turn on Michael's side of things, and we're working with that Iono hand as well. So had 6, and we're going to start with that escape rope. Rowan has to decide what to promote here instead of that Cresselia that was already promoted into to protect. But the Radiant Greninja has to be the sacrificial frog here going into the active position, and Michael promoting that Arceus V.
And this is so strong. That dark signal from the Umbreon bringing up the Curlia, targeting down this draw power. Michael might not even need to pull off any kind of cheesy plays in this one. He might just win through raw aggression and Rowan's unfortunate prizing.
Yeah, absolutely. That Arceus V-Star all charged up now for some Trinity Nova Curlia with not enough HP to survive
and a research.
Sheesh, even more card draw here for Michael in this match so far, and it's just going to look like it's going to become an uphill battle from here for Rowan, already down those Ralts that are in the prize cards, and it's going to be harder to recover losing the single Curlia as well for Rowan. There's still Ralts on the bench, and the Radiant Greninja will be available, but this is tough, and it's a great strategy here from Michael. That dark signal, so strong on that Umbreon of VMAX.
Yeah, I mean, we have talked about how great Boss's Orders is. Imagine being able to get that gusting effect and play a draw supporter at the same time. That's why the Umbreon is so strong with Arceus V-Star. Michael Catron was considering using his V-Star power, but he really doesn't need anything else. And I wonder if Michael's maybe got a little bit of a read, knowing that based on the way Rowan's kind of setting up, that there's a chance a Ralts or 2 are prized. It's not usual that you would see a Gardevoir have this few in play at this point.
Yeah, we're just going to see the board continue to develop here for Michael. Accelerating those 3 energy from that Trinity Nova, as well as taking the knockout, going down a prize card as well. Let's see what Michael took off of the prizes here, taking a prize, and Rowan is just deciding what to promote now. It's going to be that Zacian V, 2 Psychic Energy already loaded up onto it, moving into the active position. So Chip, where do you think Rowan goes from here?
Looks like he is just attaching to Zacian and playing Iono, so he's going to try to disrupt Michael where he can and just try to, withstand this board. Not only did Rowan prize 2 Ralts, he also prized one of his 2 Super Rods. So his chance of getting back the Ralts that just went down is even pretty low.
Even lower, yeah, that is unfortunate for sure. We're going to see the concealed cards, 2 rare candy off of that concealed cards. If only we had some Ralts to use it with, that'd be great. Yeah,
I mean, we can get 1 Gardevoir in play. If Rowan can get to 8 energy on this active Zacian, he would be able to take a knockout on this Arceus V-Star, but without being able to use refinement, he's not been able to discard enough Psychic Energy to really pull that play off.
Yeah, this is looking tough indeed, debating the Ultra Ball here. Discarding 2 cards, going to be a rare candy and a battle VIP pass to the discard for Rowan off this Ultra Ball. Going in for a Pokemon here, and it is going to be that second Curlia that we see coming down onto the bench to evolve that Ralts.
And I think we're just seeing refinement right away. He knows that he needs to find something like that Super Rod to stay in this game. Drawing 2, there's a Reversal Energy, and I don't think it was a Super Out. I think it was Battle VIP Pass. Storm Slash.
Resetting the board here. It's just going to be that Storm Slash for Rowan and over to Michael Catron. The Arceus V-Star still alive here and swinging as well. Let's see. And Michael just gets another free turn essentially to do even more here on this board state. Going in with an Ultra Ball to search out a Pokemon. That Arceus V ready to be turned into a V-Star, and that's exactly what we're going to see here. V-Star evolving right away. That's another attacker eligible to get ready on the board.
Something that Michael can do this turn is go for the Lost City off of a Starbirth. I think we will likely see Starbirth coming out and Boss's Orders targeting down this one final poor Kirlia, send it to the Lost Zone. I mean, I think Michael should totally know that there are 2 Ralts prized at this point because Rowan played an Ultra Ball, did not get a Ralts down and established, so he should try to take advantage of that information. Something else he could do as well here is not worry as much about the Lost City and just go after the Kirlia, take the knockout, make it really difficult for Rowan to recover, and then even though the active Zacian would attack next turn, take a knockout on this Arceus, he could, for the other Starbirth card, grab Choice Belt to prep it onto his other Arceus V-Star so that it can one-hit KO Zacian V.
Yep, that's exactly what Michael's doing as of now here, flipping over that V-Star token for the game, searching through the deck for any 2 cards here. Also, searching through some discard piles, checking out the deck.
And he actually chose not to grab the Boss's Orders. He's playing the Lysander Boss's Orders. He thought about it there for a minute. He did get the Lost City and chose to get Hawlucha, which is pretty interesting off of his Starbirth. So Hawlucha, Flying Entry, will drop a damage counter onto 2 benched Pokemon. Yeah, it can't damage the active. I think there's a little bit. Yeah. Oh no, okay. What he's done, he's damaged the bench Cresselia, and then moved the damage
with Alakazam
all the way up to the active with the Alakazam. So that's exactly what he did. And then that is 210 damage. That's the knockout. And Lost City sends the Zacian to the Lost Zone. Rowan can't withstand this. Decides to concede. We're moving on to game 2.
Game 2 indeed. Michael Catron taking that game 1, and it didn't even look like a struggle at all, Chip. It was smooth, streamlined from the very beginning of that game for Michael. And, you know, there's tons of Pokemon, there's tons of tricks in the bag of this deck, but Michael didn't need any of it. All we saw that was the star, no pun intended, of the show there was that Arceus V-Star.
Yeah, and that was less to the credit of Michael's unique deck building and unique strategy, more to the credit of Rowan prizing too many Ralts. He didn't even have an opportunity really in that game is what it feels like. So going into this next one, Rowan is going to hopefully prize less Ralts, get an opportunity to get more set up and try to find a way to navigate a unique matchup that he's never really had much experience against. One thing I will say, you know, Rowan probably doesn't have experience against this deck, but Michael and Rowan are similar ages. They came up together in the seniors and juniors division. These guys have probably played each other dozens of times through the years
each other,
in Pokemon tournaments. So Rowan is definitely well aware of Catron's deck building style, the many shenanigans he is known for.
Expect the unexpected, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and I mean, Rowan gave us a strong fight still. You know, we do have more time on the clock for these players now that we're in our top cut, so you might as well play things out. Oh no, Chip!
Well, it's just 2 Kirlia. That's better than prizing 2 Ralts.
It's not as bad, yes. But it's
less
than
ideal.
Awkward.
Less than ideal. But
if
Rowan can really pop off, get the other 3 Ralts in play, get 2 Kirlia down, Rare Candy into a Gardevoir. I mean, that's still an ideal turn too. 2 Kirlia and Rare Candy Gardevoir. So he's got the pieces. Less than ideal, but still very workable.
Yeah, it's definitely still not the easiest prize cards, but more workable than our last game for sure. Michael Catron did prize a V-Star, but there's plenty still in the deck for Catron, so no worries about that. Hawlucha is going to be the start here for Michael, but we're actually starting on Rowan's side, of course, not taking the win in game 1, opting to go first this time around in our game 2. And at least we do have that Mew in the starting position. Fantastic starting Pokemon. You do get to utilize that Mysterious Tail to get hopefully a much needed card Usually the Battle VIP pass is what you're going for here.
Yeah, but the way that Rowan has his Mew turned makes me think he's already used the ability.
Yeah, I think so.
So it must have just grabbed this level ball.
I don't think it's just
using.
sleeping, Chip.
Yeah, Mew is not asleep, not paralyzed currently on,
oh,
on
yeah,
the job.
there's paralysis here. Yeah, it's just going to be a level ball for Curlia. For
Looks
Rowan.
like, yeah, there is a Ralts in the hand. There's also the Artisan, and a Radiant Greninja. So
oh, wow,
Rowan
that's great.
Rowan's got a pretty sizable and good hand here. He can have plenty of plays available, use this Radiant Greninja, hopefully draw into more ways to get basic Pokemon. Another level ball will work.
I think that was Ultra Ball.
Oh, and another Curlia. No, he has a level ball as well that he hit.
Yeah, you are so correct there. Artisan going to come down.
All right.
Searching off of it right away. Michael picking it up to read it here. Does search out a basic non-rule box Pokemon.
He's thinking through what Pokemon he can put into play. One of them being the Hawlucha, which is in his active spot.
That is so
Not that he would ever want to put Hawlucha in play. You only get to use that flying entry ability when you bench it from your hand.
Yep.
In the right matchup, he could grab a Spiritomb, but I don't think we're doing that today.
Yeah, definitely not the card we're looking for. It's just going to be a manual attachment here onto the Mew in the active position for that nice pivot later on. And we're over onto Michael's side now for this first turn. As we said, Hawlucha obviously not getting its full capability here, being the starting Pokemon of that flying entry for some damage counters down onto the bench. But we'll see what Michael's able to pull off on this first turn here, starting with an Ultra Ball, discarding a Boss's Orders and an Umbreon VMAX.
Yeah, he's got 2 Ultra Ball in hand, which can lead to an Arceus V this turn and an Arceus V-Star on the next turn. The problem is it's going to require him to discard plenty of resources, and we've already seen that, where this first Ultra Ball is ditching a Boss's Orders and an Umbreon VMAX. 2 really, really important cards just in the deck in general, but that's all he can really do is he's got to discard good cards to get set up, get this Arceus V down, and he does have the basic energy in hand to at least have that attachment.
Yeah, it's like 2 of your gusting options just gone here. There is 3 Boss's Orders in total in the deck. But yeah, one of them's now in the discard pile here for Michael.
So Michael can actually ditch 2 more cards with this other Ultra Ball and go for the Lumineon V. And that is, I think, what he is going to ultimately decide to do. It does mean he loses another Umbreon, but it means he can get set up, which is much, much, much more important. And he has to choose now. Does he want to try to disrupt Rowan? Go with the Iono. He knows that Rowan used a level ball to put a Curlia in the hand, or does he go for research and value his own setup a little more? And I think I like this choice. Go with the research, ditch the hand, draw 7 new cards.
Yeah, that is nice indeed. I mean, having more cards at your fingertips is always fantastic. Arceus V going to get a manual attachment here for the turn before this Professor's Research. We're going to see a fresh 7 cards for Michael Catron. Let's see what we have. I see a Nest Ball that's going to be played first off here for Michael, going in for a basic Pokemon. I know Umbreon V coming out, V-Guard Energy here. I think there's like Flying Pikachu.
Yeah, going to grab the Umbreon. This is what you want to get established, and by getting this into play now, you can be aggressive with the Umbreon VMAX on the following turn.
Yep.
Really good decision, I think, here from Catron. Even though you know your opponent has the Curlia, just value your own setup, get through the deck, draw 7 cards, and leave yourself with more options on the following turn.
All right, Rowan kicking things off with the concealed cards. Going to discard that energy, draw into 2 additional cards.
Yep.
What's our hand size looking like right now?
It's getting up there. He had 4 cards in hand, uses the Curlia, ditches 1, adds another couple. There's plenty of Battle VIP pass that he's finding a little bit later than he would have liked to.
Yeah, at least being able to discard him here for now, drawing into a couple more cards.
Yep, with a few VIP pass hitting the discard pile. Normally you look on turn 2 and see 2 VIP pass and assume, oh, someone had a great turn 1, but not necessarily the case, as they are discarded now on the refinement. Rowan is thinking through what he wants to do here. He cannot get another Curlia. Let's remember there is 2 in the prize cards. We'll see this Mew try to find something.
Ooh, I don't think I see anything. Yeah, just failing it. Not a single item card there off of the top 6 for Rowan Stavenow. We have this level ball here, going to be able to go back into the deck.
Yep, there's nothing really great for this to grab. Can get the Spiritomb to put it on the bottom with something like an Iono, but the last Ralts is prized, and there are 2 Curlia prized. I think if Rowan had hit a rare candy on the Mew Mysterious Tail, he would have been able to Ultra Ball for the Gardevoir EX. Get the Gardevoir EX in play with the rare candy and maybe get off some sort of attack here. Hawlucha does only have 70 hit points, and it's also weak to Psychic, so it's actually pretty easy for his deck to KO.
Yeah, that is true. Only 70 HP on that Hawlucha. Taking double damage, that's quite a bit there.
I don't even know if Rowan has a supporter actually in this hand now that we're thinking through it. Yeah, and the way he's taken a little bit of time here.
Yeah, I think we saw a couple off the Mysterious Tail, but obviously you can't draw those. It's just been super awkward.
It's a boss's orders. He was debating maybe going for boss to try to slow Michael down, but Michael has to play a switching card anyway in order to get this Arceus V-Star active.
Super rough to see, but hey, at least we have somewhat of a board, a little more than we had in our game 1 from Rowan. Now we are back over to Michael here, and that's going to be a flip of the V-Star token here for Michael to search out 2 cards, any cards from the deck. Looking through, we have that Arceus V-Star is now on the board as well.
And Michael can go for either switch or escape rope for the switching cards here. He does play 1 copy of each. And the reason you do that is so that off of Starbirth, you can pick which one is better in any given time. If you want to KO whatever your opponent has active, you grab switch. And if you want to target something on the bench, you get the escape rope.
And that's what it is, the escape rope coming out here. Rowan sending up that Radiant Greninja. We see the double turbo coming down as well onto that Arceus V-Star. Very similar to what we saw earlier. It's just going to wipe the board here of that Radiant Greninja. That's 1 less resource Rowan now has to draw into more cards. And again, it's a pretty awkward hand so far for Rowan. Michael also going to be able to take a prize card here after these energy are being accelerated off of that Trinity Nova. Umbreon V getting 1 dark and Arceus V getting 2 basic, a dark and water. So first prize card down. What's Rowan going to do from here? We still have some options here. Mysterious Tail, refinements to go through. So hopefully we can rescue this hand a bit.
Yeah, I mean, he wants to try to find a Gardevoir EX here at this point. Level Ball, once again, not able to get a Curlia or a Ralts. Just going to fetch the Manaphy out of the deck. Rowan here, I mean, you can kind of read it on his face. He is not happy with how this game is going. He's not out of it yet. He's not in a great spot, but he is not out of it. If he can get a Gardevoir into play, find that Zacian, get the Storm Slash off, get 8 energy onto it, he can one-hit KO the Arceus V-Star this turn. There's a rare candy. I think he does have Ultra Ball in hand. He also has that Shining Arcana Gardevoir. He's also got the Zacian. He's got Iono. He's honestly got a pretty solid hand.
You're just naming off every card here, Chip. Wait, he's got this, got this. Hey, we got it. There's scenarios here, Chip, for sure. We're going to see that Shining Arcana. It comes down and is used right away here. Look at the top 2. No Psychic Energy from that Shining Arcana, so we're not going to see any attachments here, but nice draw 2 to the hand.
I think this is the thing that Rowan is missing, is just energy cards. He has 3, I think, in the discard pile, 1 on his active Mew that he can retreat out of play, but that's what he's missing if he wants to try and get a KO.
You have 10 Psychic Energy and that 1 Reversal Energy are in the deck.
Reversal Energy would work as well if he can find that off the Iono. That would help him get there. It would mean he only needs 5 basic Psychic Energy, and then he could even get the KO with Gardevoir. A little bit easier to manage than getting a KO with Zacian. So I wonder if Rowan will dig really hard for this with the research that he drew off Shining Arcana, or will he go for the Iono and try to disrupt Catron just a little bit? Looks like Mysterious Tail is happening first.
Yeah, Mysterious Tail looking at 6 here. I don't think I've seen an item yet.
He did find, Fog Crystal.
Oh, there we go, Fog Crystal. And Ultra Ball was in there too. Fog Crystal being taken off of that Mysterious Tail here. That can lead to an energy for sure.
Yep, yep. Get you 1 energy card. Not the Reversal Energy, however. That would have been the one he really wanted to get.
No reversal. Has to be that basic Psychic Energy. Only 1 option off of a Fog Crystal, but it's at least something here for Rowan. just seems to just be whiffing or like drawing cards in a super awkward manner, I suppose. And unfortunately, that's how it sometimes goes. We're seeing that one energy being placed manually onto that Shining Arcana Gardevoir.
Now he does have Boss's Orders here in the hand.
Oh, yeah.
And this is going to target the Umbreon V, taking this out as opposed to reaching for the KO on the Arceus V-Star. Knowing that Michael has discarded an Umbreon V means he probably won't have to deal with Umbreon VMAX for the rest of this game. So I like this decision. Use that Boss, take this out before it becomes a VMAX with a lot more HP.
Take down your biggest threats, I suppose, on the board. That's exactly what Rowan is looking to do here.
And Rowan's going to take the Ralts off the prizes here, I'm pretty sure, based on how he normally takes his prizes, you know, from the bottom to the top. Sure enough, hits the Ralts and a Kirlia, adding those to the hand. He won't be able to use Kirlia next turn, but will at least be able to establish another Ralts.
Yeah, that's essential here for the late turns in this game so far. We're now over to Michael's side. That Umbreon V is no longer on the field, but look at this chip. We're seeing some Alakazam action here to move out around some damage counters, and then we're going to go straight into an Iono as well.
Yeah, and Lost City hitting the field. Additionally, this will mean this Gardevoir, when it gets KO'd, will not go to the discard pile. Rowan will not be able to recover it with something like a Super Rod. You can start to see how this is getting a little out of Rowan's grasp. And with this Alakazam moving the damage to the benched Mew, you can see how that's setting up for a potential Yoga Loop in the coming turns.
Oh my gosh. Are we going to see that chip? We will have to wait and see. But that'd be pretty wild. But yeah, I mean, that's really how this deck works together, having all these Pokemon paired together to make these very intricate plays here for Michael Catron. And it seems to be going pretty well so far, tying things up here. 4-4 prize cards between both of our players here in our Masters Top 8.
Rowan does have that reversal energy now in his hand. The unfortunate thing, though, he is tied on prizes with Michael Catron, so he is unable to utilize that as an option in order to boost the number of energy cards on one of his Pokemon.
Yeah, it's like one less option. Your opponent has to be leading in those prize cards in order to use that, so Rowan has even more obstacles in the way, or less options, I suppose. We'll see what is drawn into the hand here off of this refinement, if it's anything that we can work with to start saving the state of this game.
We see another Shining Arcana Gardevoir. That could be an option. Looks like Mew is being utilized first. There's Boss's Orders. I think that's something Rowan wouldn't have minded finding, but instead has to take the Ultra Ball. We do know he took a Ralts, so Ultra Ball is a live target to now find a Ralts, get that in play, try to get something established for future turns.
Very true. It's in the deck now. Because of that Iono, putting it back into the deck. We've seen some shuffling happen. Shining Arcana going to evolve here onto the bench for Rowan, so we still have that ability to be used this turn.
Lots of Psychic Energies down in the discard pile. Ultra Ball could also find the Zacian. The unfortunate thing is that there is now a V-Guard energy on this active Arceus V-Star, meaning you now need 9 energy cards on Zacian in order to get the KO.
Goodness.
So it's another hurdle to try to climb.
I feel like that's all we've been discussing here, Chip. Hurdles after hurdles for Rowan Stavenow.
I will say Rowan did just find Boss's Orders, and he has the Gardevoir on his bench, the Gardevoir EX. What he could do now with the Lumineon in play for Michael Catron is Boss's Orders, hit with the Gardevoir EX, take a one-hit knockout, dealing 190. That's more than enough. And then you set yourself up to try to dig for a one-hit KO on something on the next turn.
Radiant Greninja being shuffled back into the deck here for Rowan off of that Super Rod. It's gonna go back in, so gonna wait to shuffle it up here. Ultra Ball discarding 2 rare candy to get that Radiant Greninja right back out of the deck.
A little surprised to see both rare candy go down. You do still have the potential to use it next turn, but maybe this is Rowan assuming he's not going to be able to use those Pokemon, with Lost City potentially being a factor. Fog Crystal now can get the Psychic Energy to attach from hand, or the Zacian. I don't think he has 9 energy yet to get to this KO. He also, with this Fog Crystal, could, of course, get Ralts. That is
Yeah.
an option to try to Curlia next turn.
Yeah, there was plenty of ways to get the Ralts out, but it has not been retrieved yet here for Rowan. So we'll see if that is an option Rowan's looking to take, or if it's just going to be another energy.
Looks
or
like
another
he's,
Pokemon.
Yeah, he's debating between the Ralts and the Zacian here.
Yeah.
Does ultimately land on the Ralts. He does play that one Scarlet and Violet Ralts. That's a one of, we normally see people play the one Ralts from Silver Tempest. But
this is the silver border one.
Yes, yeah. So I think there actually is a little bit of a method and a reason to playing this Pokemon. It can be decent in the mirror, 30 damage for 2, can KO a Gardevoir if they overextend one of your opponent's opposing Gardevoirs. So now Rowan using that Psychic Embrace most likely, and I think he's going for this play. Boss's Orders probably taking out this Lumineon V, taking 2 prizes.
Yep. Boss's Orders ready to go in the hand. Psychic Embrace going to accelerate the Psychic Energy out of the discard pile here onto this Gardevoir. EX, of course, has to take those damage counters, 2 damage counters for each energy, but that is going to be enough to discard and take a knockout on this Lumineon V, which is 2 prize cards down. Rowan is only 2 left, 2 away from taking a win here and taking us into a game 3. But Michael Catron still standing in the way.
Oh, I think Catron just had a card unintentionally revealed from the deck. I think his sleeves just stuck together. I think his sleeves just stuck together and the double turbo energy flipped. That would be a penalty for Catron. He would have a 2 prize penalty, and Rowan is just going to win on that. Catron, understanding the situation, is instantly going to concede. I think Rowan still would have been able to win, but that is not the way you want to see a game end here in top 8.
No, not at all.
Catron didn't even, I love the fact that Michael did not even take a second to react and like let the judge make the ruling.
Michael just knew.
He instantly knew the ruling. He flips a card unintentionally, even though it was not his fault. That information is now gained. He knows what the top card of his deck is. It gets flipped over. He's going to receive a 2 prize penalty, so he instantly concedes and moves on to the next game.
Yeah, that's a little frustrating for sure. To watch a game end like that is definitely never what you want to see. It's even more frustrating because, you know, those sleeves, they're art sleeves, and they are a different quality of the normal, you know, just plain colored sleeves that our players are playing with. And unfortunately, that's what can happen sometimes if you're playing with a different set of sleeves that stick together more often just because of the material they're made from.
The sleeves Michael is using are beautiful. I'm a big fan. 25th anniversary sleeves. They are a little stickier.
They're
they
stickier,
just are.
they are.
You're gonna find cards sticking together more often than not. So more often than you would with maybe a different matte set of sleeves.
Yeah, that is unfortunate to see, but it's just as you said, Chip. Michael knew exactly what was going to happen there, that was going to be a penalty. Just scoops it up, and we are going to be going into a game 3 between these players. I guess one positive thing about heading into a game 3 now is that Rowan gets a chance to hopefully not have some super clunky draws, some super awkward situations.
Super awkward prizes as well, which we see not the case here. 1 rare candy, a few search cards. Not the best, not
super
what you
rods
love
on
to
bottom
see.
too, so that's pretty all right.
This is way better than what Rowan has had to deal with so far.
Yeah,
I don't know what was going to exactly happen in the end of that game. I mean, Michael was not going to be able to take a 2 prize KO on the Gardevoir EX. Rowan had 2 prizes left, so I still think Rowan was in a decent position in that game after the way things kind of developed, where Catron had to lose too many of the Umbreon too quickly.
Yep, here we see Michael putting out these prize cards.
Umbreon in the top.
Umbreon is in the top. We saw Umbreon prize before as well. That's 1 Umbreon VMAX down. There's only 2 total in the deck, so there's 1 left for Michael Catron. We're starting on Michael's side. It's going to be the Umbreon V in the active position here for Michael to start us off. Arceus V is just going to get that double turbo and pass over to Rowan. Rowan starting again with that amazing Mew, and it finds the Battle VIP pass chip. This is already much better of a scenario, and I'm sure Rowan is happy to see that.
Yeah, this is looking great for Rowan. Your opponent didn't do too much, though I will say Catron got the bare minimum, right?
Yes, exactly.
He got the attachment to the Arceus V. I mean, it's exactly what you want to be doing. on turn 1 as an Arceus deck. You can't play a supporter, obviously. But Rowan now starting the Mew, getting it active early, not having to worry about searching it out, retreating, anything like that, and finding the VIP pass right away. This has got to be a sigh of relief, and Rowan's got to be thankful for the fact that he's able to get this start and get a few Pokemon in play. Zacian being led early could be an option here. Does find 1 Ralts at least.
Yeah, Rowan needs to take every single edge possible in this matchup. You know, our Gardevoir deck, we say, is a setup deck, and Michael, really, the setup is to get all these energies accelerated.
Look at this board!
And you're going, but Rowan is setting up real nice here for a Gardevoir deck. This is exactly what you want to see, a very nice setup. We're just going to see that Roar of the Sword here, attach that energy from that ability, and then also looking through the deck here, Rowan does get a deck search real quick to check things out, make sure you know what is in the prize cards, but probably happy to see we finally have a good chunk of Ralts. It's literally every single Ralts out on the field right now.
Yeah, this is a dream setup just about for Rowan. All 4 Ralts in play. That means we can see 3 Kirlia next turn and a potential rare candy into a Gardevoir EX. The Zacian already receiving 2 energy cards. This thing could threaten a KO on an Umbreon VMAX next turn potentially.
Yeah, that is powerful. Michael is going to have to figure out how to respond to this extremely strong turn 1. We'll see how it goes. Umbreon V being the active Pokemon. At least that Arceus V does have a double turbo already attached here, so a manual attachment will get the energy requirement needed for Arceus V-Star. And we do have the Ultra Ball as well, discarding a Boss's Orders and a Dark Energy.
Yep, ditching those 2 pieces. This Ultra Ball can find that Arceus V-Star, and Starbirth can find can find Michael Catron any 2 pieces he may want. He did draw Professor's Research for the turn, so that is going to be an option for him if he wanted to Boss's Orders and maybe hit this Zacian before it gets out of hand. You know, hitting it for 180 damage does mean that you're capping how much Rowan can do to you next turn, because, of course, Gardevoir can't accelerate energy to Pokemon if they would be knocked out by the Psychic Embrace.
Yeah, that's a bit awkward, huh? Don't want to knock your own Pokemon out. Actually, it's literally impossible, so can't do that. So we'll see what Michael decides to do here. We're going through the deck now. We were making those 2 card choices.
We do see the Arceus V, and we see a switch being an option. Path to the Peak could come out as well. With Rowan having already played a stadium, this does make it so that Rowan will have to find yet another counter stadium if he wants to use Psychic Embrace. Is that Path to Peak going to come into play is the question. Looks like the answer is no. Holding off on the V-Star power as well at this time.
Yeah, holding off on that. It's just going to be the knockouts there on that Celebrations Mew in the active position. Rowan is going to promote here after, of course, the energy acceleration happens. That step needs to go down first. We're going to see some energy come down onto that benched Arceus V. Going to be loaded up right away with 3 basic energy. So Michael still has a developing field here. It's not like we're just seeing bricks potentially, but Rowan just had a fantastic start. And I think this next turn for Rowan, depending on what's in hand, can be absolutely explosive here.
Yeah, Rowan is going to probably have plenty of options. What does he want to dig for? Does he want to dig for the KO on this Umbreon? That's something that can be such a big threat later in the game. It's the only thing in Michael's deck that can one-hit KO a Gardevoir EX. Or does he want to just try to get through this active Arceus V-Star, deal with the problem that is in front of him? He has the ability to make those plays, and things are going great here. Ultra Ball is now discarding 2 Psychic Energy as well. This is something that's been a little bit of a problem for some of our Gardevoir players, getting the Psychic Energy cards into the discard pile early so you can throw them into play with the Psychic Embrace.
Yep, absolutely. That Kirlia, we've already seen 2 refinements this turn now for Rowan, so
yeah, second one incoming.
Yeah, lots more cards to be drawn into. That's an additional 2 off that second.
Yep, finding 1 more level ball. That's 1 more Kirlia and 1 more refinement likely as well.
Yeah, I mean, you said it, Chip. That could be 3 Kirlia next turn, and what do we see here? Rowan has 3 Kirlia, 3 refinements for the turn. Tons of options here.
Yeah, he has played his hand down pretty decently. There's only a couple of cards in it, so we might have to see more of a setup turn like Research or even the Iono. Sure enough, Iono now coming down, disrupting Michael maybe a little bit, and the attachment to the active Zacian. If Rowan can find the one-hit KO on this Arceus V-Star this turn and take 2 prize cards, I think he'd overall be pretty okay with that.
Yeah, that'd be pretty nice indeed. A lead on the prize cards in this race to the finish. This is our 3rd game here, so whoever takes this win is going to advance into our top 4. Everything's on the line here, and things are going pretty well so far in this turn. All right, here we go. We're counting these energy that are in the discard pile. It looks like 4 here. First, we have that 3rd refinement that we can use for the turn as well here on Rowan's side.
So Rowan needs to ditch 1 more Psychic Energy, get that down in the discard pile, and find Rare Candy Gardevoir. Looks like that's not going to be happening.
Nope.
Rowan's just going for the dream board of 4 Kirlia. Maybe not the dream board. I think your dream would include Rare Candy into Gardevoir on turn 2. But, I mean, it's pretty nice to see, and that's good, consistent draw for the coming turns.
100% agree there, Chip. That's what you need as a Gardevoir deck. Consistency and drawn cards, right?
Yeah, and Rowan's even got a replacement stadium in the hand for a potential path or a lost city that could come in. And the fact that he has not put any damage on this Zacian means it is going to be pretty difficult for Michael Catron to get the KO on it. We know it is possible. Things like Choice Belt, Hawlucha, Radiant Alakazam. I mean, we saw that exact play from Catron in game number 1. So we could see a 2-prize KO happen. And if you're Michael Catron, that's one of the things you got to be thinking about potentially going for. But we'll actually choose to just go with Iono, not playing the Hawlucha down that was in that hand.
Yeah, Michael was working off of that Iono hand, but it's just going to be an Iono hand of his own here into 5 new cards. 2 Lost City, that Pikachu VMAX, that doesn't really help anything here.
Not in this matchup.
Boss's Orders, and that's it, I think, in the double turbo. So it's going to have to be that V-Star power being flipped here for Michael going into the deck to sort of plan things out here, because that hand wasn't anything too great. Yeah,
this is going to be pretty good as well. I think off the Starbirth, it looks like Michael grabbed an Arceus V-Star and the Choice Belt. Doesn't have to do any crazy Hawlucha, Alakazam shenanigans if he just uses the Choice Belt and retreats into the Arceus on the bench that does not have a double turbo energy attached and finds the evolution, which he was able to do.
Yeah, that's super nice. Choice Belt does affect those V Pokemon. Zacian is Zacian V, so that will be a knockout under Lost City as well. So Zacian V is going to go into the Lost Zone, never to be retrieved again here from Rowan, but one of those Kirlia, really the only option. Kirlia was about to be promoted, because that's the only thing we got here, Chip.
Yep, one choice. It's just whichever one you'd rather go with. It probably is technically correct to promote the one that has the teleportation burst Ralts on the underneath. So if you wanted to teleportation
deep.
burst,
that is deep
hey,
here.
Listen, it's deep, but it's optimal, okay?
Yeah, that's true. I would love to see that Rowan just moving the Kirlia to
make
see
sure
which one it is.
The right one, yeah.
That is next level. All right, we see that Fog Crystal here searching out a Psychic Energy for Rowan. Still plenty of cards to be drawn here for Rowan off of these refinements. We're going to start with our first one here. It's going to be a Professor's Research to the discard, finding that Shining Arcana Gardevoir, as well as a collapsed Stadium.
Yeah, I think for Rowan here, he's looking to KO the Umbreon this turn. That would be ideal. Get that out of play, because you're going to have to put Gardevoir EX down, and you don't really want to put Gardevoir EX down with an Umbreon V sitting on your opponent's bench.
2 supporters now being thrown into the discard for these refinements. Iono going down here.
Evolving to the active Gardevoir, Shining Arcana. Does he hit an energy card? Doesn't look like it.
That's like the second time we've seen 2 rare candy now off of a Shining Arcana. What are the odds here? But both of them are just going to be discarded here. Now that we have tons of Kirlia, we can just evolve straight into our Gardevoir here. So 2 rare candies to the discard. A Gardevoir EX going to be drawn out on that Ultra Ball for Rowan.
Rowan does have the... Oh, it's going to be another Shining Arcana here, actually, first. Rowan does have that Reversal Energy in his hand, so that is going to make it pretty easy to KO the Umbreon or this active Arceus, whichever one he would rather do. He does need boss's orders. If he wants to go after this Umbreon, that is probably the piece he's missing here, is the boss's orders. Oh, there it is. It's in his hand.
It's in the hand, yeah. It is in the hand here. Another refinement, finding a Psychic Energy. Gardevoir EX going to come down onto the field.
Yep, and V-Guard Energy on the Umbreon is not going to matter here. Gardevoir is just a regular Pokemon. I think Rowan definitely wants a replacement stadium. Get rid of this Lost City. You don't want your Gardevoir Lost Zoned if it doesn't have to be, and I do believe he is holding on to Collapse Stadium.
It is, yep. It is in the hand currently for Rowan. Taking a look real quick at Michael's discard pile, sorting through that. Seeing what Michael has, what resources are already gone for Michael, so that Rowan kind of can navigate through these couple next turns.
Yeah, the thing is, I mean, Michael hasn't done too much, right?
No,
but he's
not really.
3 prizes ahead, half of the game effectively done.
Yeah, I know. It's like, how did we even get there, Chip? It's gone so quick here.
Yep. What's nice here is Rowan's actually going to be able to hold on to the reversal energy as well, accelerating 4 energy to this active through Psychic Embrace, and then attaching 1 Psychic Energy from the hand. And now Boss's Orders has been played onto this Umbreon.
Yep, bringing out the threat that is on the field. Rowan gusting up this Umbreon V.
Wants to deal with that. That is the only way that Michael can one-hit KO a Gardevoir EX. So even though Arceus is more powered up, it's got more HP at the moment, it's got the Choice Belt, it's got all the energy cards, this is definitely the correct KO to take.
That is scary to have that Umbreon out, and it is no longer out. It does need to go into the Lost City. Yep, there it goes. Into the Lost Zone, I mean, because of that Lost City. So Michael just going to promote that Arceus V-Star back into the active position. Rowan going down 2 prize cards off of that V knockout here. And just eyeing up the hand so far. Michael looks like debating an Ultra Ball, but is going to start with a Nest Ball here, going through the deck to get another basic Pokemon, and we see that Umbreon V being drawn to the top first and foremost.
And I think the thing that is going to be a problem here for Michael Catron is that there's no basic Dark Energy left. He only plays 4. He discarded 1 early. There's 2 on his active Arceus, and then 1 just got discarded from the Umbreon. So he actually does not have a way remaining in this deck to attack with Umbreon VMAX. He doesn't play any sort of recovery card. There's no Super Rod, no energy retrieval or anything like that. No Raihan even, which is something we see in the Arceus decks from time to time. So he's now going to find himself having to find a way to close this game out with just this Arceus V-Star Onslaught. He does have maybe the option of something like the Slacking V that he plays. It's a one-of copy with the kind of lazy ability. Heavy Impact does deal 260 damage, but I don't even know if he has enough energy, even with double turbos and stuff.
Yeah, that's true. That is a hefty energy cost to pay for sure. So as of now, it's just going to be these Arceus on the field carrying the weight here. We are going to see a knockout from Michael, so we're going to go down to just 2 prize cards left. But is Michael going to have enough to piece things together to take this win, and before Rowan can take this win? Because Rowan's only got 4 left to take, and those are on the board already. It's just whether or not Rowan can get there, and things are mapping out pretty well so far. We'll see what Rowan has to piece together for this turn.
He does have reversal energy available. The question is just going to be, when is the time to utilize it? Is it now? Get through this 280 HP Arceus, or do you need to save it to potentially get through an Umbreon V Max? Now, we know Michael doesn't have a way to get a Darkness Energy, but Rowan doesn't necessarily know that. Rowan might be thinking, okay, my opponent might have a Raihan in the deck, might have a Super Rod, might have just taken a 5th Darkness Energy off the prize cards. These are all things you have to think about when you're navigating these late stage turns. We're coming down to the wire here, Boo, in our first top 8 match.
Yeah, I know that we have some updates too on our other matches, our top 8 matches. We might actually be the last one going on right now here, Chip.
Yeah, it looks like Ian Robb was able to take a 2-1 victory over Justin Brothers. Cyrus Davis 2-0 over Victor.
Are we surprised by that one? That was a
that's
pretty
a
good
matchup there for Victor. And then Cal Connor defeating Christian Labella.
No, one of the Duraludon are gone. Cal Connor going to advance. That is pretty wild, but here we go. Let's get back into this game because this is another Masters top 8 that we have to conclude here to see who makes it into our top 4.
Very few cards left in deck here for Rowan. He should have most options available to him at this point. Radiant Greninja looks like it's coming down. He has that reversal energy. It looks like now is the time.
Yep, here we go, reversal energy, which of course is going to amplify the damage here, times 3.
Brand new card from Paldea evolved, immediately having an impact to the surprise of almost no one, I feel like.
True.
And this is going to be really strong for Rowan. If he combines this with an Iono, he'll put Michael to just 2 cards remaining, and he'll take out the only Pokemon that's even prepped to be able to attack.
And that's exactly what Rowan is going to do. Here is the Iono. This is what it's going to come down to here. This could be extremely strong. Rowan doing absolutely everything possible. We'll see what 2 looks like. Michael, are those the 2 here? Is that the
those
path?
Are the 2.
Path and another Iono?
Path and another Iono, and I mean, Michael is going to be in a tough spot here. I think Rowan might be digging for a stadium potentially. That might be the last thing he's looking for. Get rid of this lost city, or keep a stadium around so you can make sure you bump the path on the next turn. Maybe you don't care about this Gardevoir. You can just use your Gardevoir EX to KO the Arceus V-Star, so I don't think you want to use your stadium now. You want to save it to bump path.
Yeah, we're coming down to the end of this game here. Very surely, everything is on the line here. We see the concealed cards for Rowan getting utilized as well for the turn. Lots of Psychic Energy already in the discard pile.
Yep. Needing to accelerate 5 more, so that'll be a total of 8 energy cards on this Gardevoir. Sure enough, 5 energies coming down. That is 100 damage to Gardevoir.
Yeah, that is a lot of damage, but you are also dealing a lot of damage with that Brainwave. 30 additional damage for each Psychic Energy. Of course, that reversal energy counting as Psychic Energy times 3, which is why this is so good. And there's only a 1 copy of this reversal as well. So this, yeah, like you said, Chip, it's got to be used at the exact right time. And this is it here for Rowan.
Yep, turns out this is the exact right time, and he's combined this with that Iono, putting Michael to 2 cards.
Huge.
And with the resources Michael has available, I just am not sure that this is possible. One last look over, I don't see a Raihan. I don't see a way for the Umbreon to come through and really make anything happen.
Yep, that's going to be the Super Rod here to just shuffle 1 energy back into the deck for Rowan.
Now, one thing I would maybe... it doesn't even matter because Michael doesn't have a Dark Energy. I was wondering if maybe Michael could ever pull off some play with the Mean Look on the Umbreon, you know, stall something active if Rowan's already down his switch, but I don't think it's even going to matter.
You even need the Dark Energy for that Mean Look, exactly. It's not a colorless.
The path to the peak is going to bump the Lost City, and Michael going to hit him with the reverse. Iono to 2 for you, Rowan.
Yeah, I think they're just discussing, saying.
Did you want to cut the hand?
Yeah, cut the hand that's really now the deck at this point.
And Michael off this Iono draws an Arceus, draws an escape rope, and I think is probably seeing that this is going to be tough, as Rowan does have the stadium in hand to bump this path. Rowan's going to do what he can, or Michael's going to do what he can, play the escape rope, force Rowan to have it, and sure enough, collapsed stadium, gets rid of path to the peak, and Rowan Stavenow will accelerate the energy to Gardevoir and take the KO to move on to top 4.
Yeah, that was a long one, Chip, but that was a fantastic game. It went back and forth. Unfortunately, we saw that really awkward end to our game 2, but Rowan Stavenow is going to take it here in that match. That was our top 8, which means Rowan is going to be advancing on to our top 4. I'm sure absolutely thrilled to be moving on, and with that Gardevoir deck as well.
Yeah, what a wild one. Show of respect from the players chatting about the game. But Rowan is the one moving on to top 4 after becoming a Hartford regional champion not too long ago. Happy to see another deep tournament run, and is there an international championship in his future? Only time